Okay, so really quickly, just gonna make a quick disassembly video. I haven't been putting out very many videos with the SMG, but that's just because I've been busy. So let's get started with a full takedown real quick. 2 rear pins. First of all, make sure the magazine's out. Second is first rear pin. I like to take out the top first because it's easiest, and then the bottom one is usually a pain in the ass. So take those 2 out. I like to keep them in the stock so I don't lose them. The entire bolt assembly comes out from there, so put that aside. Next is the bolt catch and bolt release, or bolt release, bolt catch, whatever, and the magazine selector. You have to use that world's tiniest Allen key that came with your set, or at least that's the thing that I found is easiest, because these are some seriously tiny screws. There's one on the right side of the gun for the selector switch, left side of the gun for the bolt release. So take those out real quick. And don't lose that screw. Just push it out through the other side. I typically tend to have the gun not on safe. I feel it's the easiest when putting it back together. Also a good habit is to partly reassemble everything when it's outside of the gun, so that way you don't end up losing things. So I'm just going to put the screw back in, give it 2 turns, and pull it. Okay, sure. Bolt catch. Okay, that screws out. This one's a little bit harder to take off, but once you've worn it in, it should come out fairly easily. Once again, try to reassemble it outside. 1, 2 turns and pull off. Okay, so you've taken the 2 pins out there. The last one is the trigger. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. Also, trigger pin only comes out one way, so be careful with that. And with that out, you can take out that, and then just push the whole thing out there. And there you go. That's it. Okay, so we have this out. The body is now just the body. Typically, whenever you pull this thing out, oh, look at that, my hop-up is a mess. Let me tune that real quick. So, just going over a few things real quick is your hop-up bar, which is adjusted through the hop-up screw, which is the bottom one. Let's find out what its measurement is once and for all. Nope. This might not be the right one. And I don't think I can find my other one. Oh. Is it? Yes, this is it. Okay, so second smallest, so 3/16. 3/16 Allen key. And then left loose. Come on. And I have mine seriously overhopped, so I want to tune it down just to take enough pressure off the bar, because it looks like it's warping already. Just see if I can get that frame more. Come on. Okay, and most of the pressure has been taken off the bar, and it's now straighter than it was before. I can still see my hop up enough. Okay. So for those observant viewers who saw, okay, two things to note are the trigger pin and the trigger bearing. This little brass tube is the bearing that sits inside the trigger. Without this, your trigger does not like to function on semi-automatic. It works fine on fully automatic, from what I can tell, but it does not like to work on semi. And that's the way it sits on the pin. Anyway, that aside, observant viewers will know that I have this spring and this silver piece. This is actually your, I guess, the interface between the bolt release and the actual bolt release system itself, which is this little lever right here. Where does it go and how does it go back together? So left side of the gun, because the orange barrel, I like to set the spring in there first. If you notice, there is a specific notch that this sits in because it's notched. I'm saying a lot. I'm going to try to stop that. This little platform slides in and catches the spring, which is what gives it that little teeny tiny bit of tension. I've been meaning to try to upgrade this spring because it's pathetically weak, in hopes to kind of keep it from wobbling as much during shooting, but I haven't done anything so far. So this is a little bit tricky, not the trickiest thing in the world though. It has to go underneath the little bolt lever, which is this thing right here. So you have to kind of shim it in underneath while getting this entire notched part in the circle. So I like to come at it in an angle. Oops, not like that. And either, like I'm doing now, pushing the spring up and in, but that usually doesn't work, like it just didn't. So it just takes a little bit of time and practice to get in, but you'll either A, mess up by putting the ledge inside the spring because it's such a large variance, I guess, as opposed to something you typically see. But it just takes a little bit of patience and trial and error to get the spring in properly. So hopefully I can get this in within the next second or so. And there we go. Okay. So the tricky part is keeping it in there and getting it in there. So now that it's in there, I like to kind of keep my finger on it. Your selector switch, the pin that makes selecting stay, the spring that keeps tension on it, like I said earlier, your actual release for your mag catch, bolt release. Other side of selector switch, other side of bolt release. This is actually your trigger bar, per se. I'm not 100% sure on that, don't quote me. And this is the actual selector itself. If I had this apart, I could slide it in, and you probably could yourself if you take this screw out. I'm too lazy to. Slide it in all the way through, and you can actually see it move this little bar up and down, and that keeps you from either going semi-automatic, safe, or fully auto. So full save semi. Anyway, this spring's entire purpose is to keep tension on the bar, and without that, I do not believe your gun resets. So that's important. If you do lose it and have to, or rather if it does fall out for some reason, you do have to put it back in. It's super simple. The longer part goes up and into this little section, push it on this hole, and then this part just sits kind of here on the ledge. It's simple. I lost mine, found it, put it back in, no problem. Inside the trigger bar, there's actually a pin similar to the other side with the selector switch. That's where the spring is as well. If you want to take apart your hop-up, screws there, screws there. I believe they are Allen keys. I'm sorry. Screws are there, they go all the way through to there. Pretty sure that's it. Haven't done it yet because I've been too focused on the whole orange tip still. But one day it'll get done. Anyway, that's just a quick little overview. To slide the whole thing back in, I don't think I've really lost anything else. My hammer needs a little bit of cleaning though, for sure. And the whole striker and everything, that's all in there. Yay. Hopefully you can see most of that. Put it back in is a little bit on the tricky side, not too terribly difficult. Just slide it in like you're sliding anything in with this gun. Easiest way I find to do it is slide the top part of the hop-up adjustment up against the top. Just keep going. You can let go of the bolt catch right about when it's inside the gun. And try to move this around. And it's just kind of try to keep it straight as much as you can. And I'm having a little bit of trouble here. There you go. Try to keep it up, and no, I just lost it. How did I put this thing back in? Come on. Okay. There it goes. Okay. So, the goal is to keep it underneath those two bars. Guides, sorry. Keep it underneath the two guides, the rear section. Front section, try to keep it over them. Push it through straight as much as you can. You're going to have to wobble it. It's not a first try thing. And it's just going to fit until it's flush with the body pins. Okay, so reassembly. That's step one. I pretty much just do reverse order of taking it apart. Make sure your bearing is in your trigger. There's two different ways to set the trigger in, the wrong way and the right way. The wrong way is to set it up just sitting outside. The right way is to set it up while it is inside the actual body, which is hard to get it in. Hold on. Okay, so if you see, my trigger is actually pretty much almost in fire, I guess you could say. And then you just have to work with lining it up to where it's all the way through. I need to put this down and kind of hover over this. Sorry, you see the back of my head. Okay, so that's lined up. Just take your pin. Like I said before, it only goes in one way. One way is, I guess, barbed, you could think of, and the other part is not. The part that is barbed is the part you push in with, because it will sit inside the gun barely, but the actual body of the internals will stop it from going all the way through. So with that in, did I just lose that screw? Oh, it's still in. Okay, I didn't put it in far enough, so it didn't catch. You know what? I'm just going to keep that there. Okay, so this goes in through the right. It only goes in one way. And then slide that end on. World's tiniest Allen key. And this is where things start to get a little bit tricky. I've had several problems on several occasions with this Allen key, or this Allen screw on this particular part. There are times where it will snug up, you can't twist it anymore, and you just have to back it all the way out and try to put it back in. Eventually you'll wear it in to where it'll just go in, period. Like I've done. I've spent 30-40 minutes trying to get that one screw in, and loads and loads of frustration. So that's out. This too only goes in one way, the opposite way from the other one, so this goes in from the right. of the gun. Oh, this is on full, so it should be in the full position. Come on. That's not right. That's not right. Okay, it goes in from the left of the gun. My bad. Right, because that's not the part that screws in. Okay, never mind. Was not thinking there for a second. Just kind of fit this on the end. And screw it in. And you're completely done disassembling. Get my internals back in, and we'll call it a quit. It'd help if my stock is in properly. Okay, there we go. 1, 2. I prefer to put the bottom one in first. Like I said, this thing is a pain, so get something soft to hit. I also like to line up the little notch with it, or you can do that. Top one usually just slides in nicely. Usually. There it goes. Okay, so, and there it's there. There it's there. That's there. Okay, so full, semi, safe. Yeah, so, and full. There we go. It's all back together. Hope I helped.